Well, good evening. Welcome to another edition of Bedtime Stories with Pastor Michelle. And we're changing things up tonight and this week. We are going to, because usually I do this during the day, and I'm going to change things up because I want to continue reading about different women. This is a book that my mom got me, and I'm very appreciative of my mom. I love her very much. And I was just looking at my forehead. I just thank her. Especially for buying me this book because I've really been enjoying it quite a bit. And so I'm just seeing something here. Let's see. Hold on. Whoa! No. All right. So did that help? Yeah, there we go. So let's hear about a woman of the day. And our woman of the day, or woman of the night. Well, never mind. That doesn't sound right. Woman of the night. Is Rosalind Franklin. All right, so let's hear about her. And she was a chemist who discovered the structure of DNA, so she's a pretty important woman. Rosalind was born in the Notting Hill, great movie by the way, area of London in 1920 and grew up in a wealthy and well-educated Jewish family. She had 4 siblings and their father was a partner at a bank and owned a publishing company as well. The family loved travel and hiking, which remained one of Rosalind's favorite activities for the rest of her life. She was incredibly intelligent and was especially good at languages. She could have done any number of things, but she decided that she wanted to be a scientist when she grew up. She went to Newnham College at Cambridge and earned her degree in chemistry. Working in Paris, she learned to use X-rays as a way of studying objects and what they are made of, and became a pioneer in this new technique called X-ray crystallography. All right, crystallography. All right. Working at King's College, London, Rosalind and her student Raymond Gosling used X-ray to take pictures of DNA. DNA is short for, for fun want to try to say it, deoxyribonucleic acid. And it contains instructions and codes that we call genes. Genes tell the cells in our bodies how to make a certain protein, and those proteins tell our cells how to grow and work. If a cell were like a computer, then the DNA would be the computer program that makes it work. Our DNA is made of chromosomes inherited from our parents, and it makes us who we are. A Swiss biologist named Friedrich Mietzer had first identified DNA in 1869, but scientists were still puzzling at how it worked. Under a microscope, it looked like a long single strands, but then Rosalind and her student took a picture called Photograph 51 showing the DNA. Sorry, my connection keeps losing now. All right. Showing that DNA had what is called a double helix. This was a huge breakthrough. DNA was no longer a mystery and could begin to be decoded. But Rosalind lived and worked in a time when women were often not considered as clever as men and were not always treated well by the men they worked with. Even though she was a brilliant scientist, she worked with men who were uncomfortable with her success. One of those scientists, Maurice Wilkins, did not get on well with Rosalind, and without her knowledge or permission showed Photograph 51 to 2 men named James Watson and Francis Crick. What jerks. They realized it was a very important discovery and used her photograph as well as some of her other observations to create a double helix model of DNA that is now very famous. Then Rosalind discovered she had cancer. She carried on for another 2 years but died very young at the age of 37. 4 years after her death, Watson, Crick, and Wilkins won the Nobel Prize for discovering the chemical structure of DNA, not revealing that it was Rosalind's work and photograph that helped give them their idea. Rosalind did not live to see her discovery change how scientists understand the human body or how it helped to make important advances in medicine. Rosalind changed science forever with her discovery of the structure of DNA. She also studied RNA, or ribonucleic acid, which is a copy of DNA that the body makes in the next step of creating proteins. Although she wrote many papers and helped build an understanding of many diseases, including polio, she was not given proper credit for her huge discovery. She was a brilliant scientist who changed the world forever by helping other scientists understand that DNA is the basic building block of all life. But it is only recently that the world has begun to realize just how important Rosalind was. Well, isn't that crappy, though, that they took her ideas and made it their own almost. So Rosalind's X-ray diffraction photograph of DNA taken before Watson and Crick discovered DNA. So there we go. There it is right there. Right here. Okay. And then one of her sayings, All that is necessary for faith is the belief that by doing our best, or we shall come nearer to success, and that success in our aims is worth attaining. And there's a cartoon picture of her. Science and everyday life cannot and should not be separated. Science for me gives only a partial explanation for life, and it's so far as it goes based on fact, experience, and experiment. And that, my friends, is a portrait of Rosalind. She was a beautiful woman. So, thank you, Rosalind, for discovering DNA. All right, so there we go. I usually do those at night or in the mornings, during my morning videos, but you know what? Whoa, all right. I thought I would do it tonight, so there we go. So Rosalind Franklin, right? Was that her name? Tomorrow night I can't talk. We will learn about Mary Anning, who is a fossil hunter whose discoveries changed science. And so, yes. So there we go. It's great to hear these amazing stories about these amazing women. And so today is June 29th. And so, without further ado, let's get into our Disney story. And our Disney story tonight is around one of my favorite Disney movies, Lady and the Tramp. All right, so it's called In the Doghouse. And we've been in, for those of you who are in relationships, you know what it feels like to, okay, never mind. That's a whole other topic altogether. But maybe we'll see what the story's about. Maybe it's not. Good morning, Tramp, said Lady, yawning and stretching. She rolled over on her silk cushion. Wasn't that just the most wonderful night's sleep? But Tramp just groaned. His sleep had been far from wonderful. In fact, he hadn't gotten much sleep at all. The night before had been Tramp's first night sleeping in Lady's house, or in any house, come to think of it. How do you do it? The bed is so soft, I feel like I'm sinking in a feather pool, and between Jim Deer's snoring and the baby's crying, I could barely hear the crickets chirping. Oh dear, Lady said, feeling truly sorry for her mate. I know, she exclaimed. Jim Deer and Darling love you so. I'm sure they let you sleep up in their bed tonight. There's nothing in the world better than that. But Tramp shook his head. I'm afraid it's the outdoors I need. I mean, I know you grew up this way and all, but it's just so much fun to sleep under the stars and the moon, too. There's nothing to howl at in this bedroom. That night, as soon as the sun set and the moon began to rise, Lady and Tramp went out to the garden. Happy at last, Tramp turned 3 times and then plopped down. Oh, how I love the feel of cool dirt on my belly, he said with a dreamy smile. Meanwhile, Lady gingerly peeked into that dark and slightly damp doghouse. Already she missed the comforts of Jim Deer and Darling's room. Tramp watched as Lady stretched out on the doghouse floor, then got up and moved outside, then back in once again. It was plain to see that, try as she might, Lady just could not relax on the cold, hard ground. Don't worry, Tramp announced. I have an idea. And with that, he ran into the house. Seconds later, he reappeared with Lady's silk cushion in his teeth. Carefully, he swept the doghouse floor with his tail and laid the cushion down just the way Lady liked it. Lady smiled and laid down. Lady smiled and lay down. And do you know what? That night they both had the sweetest dreams either one had ever had. And so there you have it. So tomorrow night's story will be from Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and it will be around the topic of good housekeeping. So my friends, I hope you all have a wonderful night and have sweet dreams. Hopefully you won't be sleeping in the doghouse. Just a joke. God bless all of you, and take care.